Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of The Articulate Fly, and we're back with the first casting angles of 2026 with the man himself, Mac Brown. Mac, how are you?
Well, I'm doing great. Happy 2026 to you and all the listeners, Marvin.
Yeah, right back at you.
Yeah, we got the show season coming up pretty quick upon us now, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And so we thought it would be a good thing. You know, there are a lot of these throughout the country. And one of the things that, you know, people sometimes don't have is they don't have a plan for how to maximize the learning at a fly fishing show.
Yes, that's true for sure. I mean, there's all kinds of classes and, you know, demos, tying demos, casting demos, the destination theater. There's lots of things where they could go. And I think a lot of it boils down to, you know, before we started is talking about, you know, what's the best way to grow your educational journey versus just the entertainment of it all, you know, because there is a difference. There is an entertainment side of a lot of this, and there's also a educational side of it. And I think that people go into it with one or the other kind of in mind, and sometimes they get lucky and get thrown into an educational side. But, you know, a lot of them, I think it's like going to the movies on the weekend, Marvin, and saying, hey, let's go for the entertainment side. You want to just sit and look at a bunch of fish from Patagonia, or you want to learn something?
Yeah, and I think part of it, too, is you got to have a plan, right? And I know I say this about everything, but I really do think it's true. And so part of it is if you're really serious about getting better, you know, go to the website, have a plan for the show, whether it's tying or casting. We'll talk about casting just because that's kind of what we generally talk about when we're together. But, you know, think about, you know, you can read a book at home, right? So the thing to do is to take advantage of the classes and the demonstrations for casting and spending time with people in a way that you can't watch a YouTube video or you can't get from a book.
That's right. Yeah, I think that'd be good. Yeah, just to have a plan. They could do that even, you know, do some little prep work before the thing to say, oh, I want to see this, and make a plan out of what they want to gather from it all, you know?
Yeah, and I think part of it, too, on the casting side, like obviously, right, you can sign up for classes. And, you know, Mac and I'll talk about kind of what we're doing at the fly fishing show on the casting front later. But I also think sometimes people kind of miss the point in like how to watch a casting demonstration, because I'm always watching people watch the fly line and all the action is happening down in the right hand.
Yeah, that's right. It's kind of mesmerizing, like a cat and you know, one of those cat toys where they shake it and the cat plays with the, you know, something off of long like coat hanger. And it's easy to get mesmerized by watching the line, and that's you know, that's really kind of a mistake. It gives you the feedback and everything what the body did, but the thing is the demo or whoever's doing it in a class or practicing, it's always back to them. I mean, they really are the essential ingredient. You know, I think too many people get hung up on what rod and what line and what all the gear is, and literally they are the most important essential ingredient. And I think that gets overlooked a lot of times.
Yeah, and so I would say, you know, at this point, just about everybody has a smartphone. And so I would encourage you when you're watching a casting demonstration to get there early enough so that you can stand relatively close to whoever's giving the demonstration. And I would use your phone to actually record their hand, because with the audio, they're going to tell you what the fly line's doing, right?
That's right.
And so if you just basically zoom in on the hand, you know, maybe you want to get the entire casting arm from the shoulder to get the full movement, but that's the best way to take advantage of these. I mean, you know, casting demonstrations from some of the greatest people in our sport.
Yeah, I mean, it would help just to focus in on, you know, the body movements of, you know, the hands definitely. And also the rate. I guess the other thing is, you know, when they look at the video later on, and even if you don't see all the loop going back and forth, but look at the rate that they're moving. Look at the amount of movement up, down, you know, if it's vertical, if it's horizontal, that goes out the window. But still, look at the rate, like how they start, how they build up, you know, how they come to a crisp. You know, a lot of times, sometimes they'll go right through the stop. And I mean, that works too. That works great. It's just that this whole casting business, there's a lot of different ways to roam, you know. But if they watch the hand, that's definitely where it's all at.
Yeah, and I would say you can do the same thing with tying, right? I mean, you can sit on Go to Tyers Row, and you can ask someone to actually talk through and demonstrate the technique that you want to learn.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. With tying's real similar. I mean, tying's all about tension too, just like casting, you know. So there's a lot of similarities, really, from fly tying to casting. I know it sounds like two entirely radically different things, but the best tyers in the world are also the best at tension control, which I'd say the same thing's true in casting world too.
Yeah. And then I would also say is, just because you watched it doesn't mean you mastered it, right? So you got to come home and you got to practice, whether you got to practice at the vise or get out on the football field or the soccer field and practice your casting.
That's right. Yeah, and then also getting feedback. All these devices everybody has, they got it in their pocket, so they can just pull out their phone and record themselves too once they get into it a little bit, and then compare it. Does that look similar to what you saw? I mean, I think that's a really good thing too. I mean, when I was growing up, of course, we didn't have the ability to sit there and film and look at ourselves. I mean, today, I think it's a whole lot easier for folks to observe what's going on, by using their phone and looking at, like, studying themselves with the phone and seeing if they're doing what they think they were doing. Because chances are they're not. Usually, I'll just say that from all the schools and things over the years, people don't ever do what they think they're doing until they have it down, right? Which is why they're doing what? Practicing. That makes sense? So the phone will give them a ton of feedback.
Yeah. And I would also say too, so, even if you're by yourself, a couple things, go to Amazon, you can buy a really inexpensive tripod with a C mount for your phone. And then the other thing you want to do when you set your phone up to record your casting is you want to change the settings on your iPhone to shoot at a really high frame rate so that when you slow down your cast in slow motion and you watch it, it's not blurry.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Changing the settings would be really beneficial.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I think that's really, have a plan, but I think that's kind of the nuts and bolts. But remember, you got to kind of come home and practice because, there's just no substitute for putting your time in. And so that's really kind of it. You're getting ready to hit the road here, and I don't know, a little bit over a week because you're doing all the fly fishing shows. I won't see you till Marlborough. I mean, till Edison, but you're going to start, I guess, in Marlborough in about a week. Why don't you let folks kind of know what you got going on, where to find you, and all that kind of good stuff?
Yeah, well, Marlborough, I think I fly up there the 15th, and we have an all-day class on the 16th with Glenda Powell from Ireland, and I'm looking forward to teaching with her. She's a wonderful teacher, wonderful caster, and we'll have that all-day class, and then the show begins, and I'm not even sure. I know I have a bunch of classes and things once the show begins, but all that's on the flyfishingshow.com website, so people can sign up for, from Marlborough to Edison to Denver to Bellevue to, I think, Pleasanton, and we end up, at the big finale up there in Pennsylvania at Lancaster. But yeah, for finding out like what classes and where, that's the best resource really, is just go to the website, go down to the bottom, and it'll show you, it'll say click more for classes. And then there's a sign up thing. And once the classes are full, that's worth saying too, because a lot of them are already full. I know a lot of our all day classes are full with Gary, that we're doing in Edison. And the thing is, once they're full, they're full. So it's like people need to get on it. Now's the time to get on it, not the day before the show or 4 days before the show.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say for me, I'm teaching a casting class. Actually, it's a seminar that Mac and I developed together, kind of on a project we're working on. I'm excited about it, and you can find the link to that if you go to my Instagram, go to my Linktree profile. You can go right and sign up for the class. But it's Friday morning in Edison, and really, Mac and I have been working on a system where we kind of have a foundational cast. And we kind of walk through that. And, because if you don't have the foundation, then, it's hard to tell you to vary off the foundation because the foundation isn't good. But we really believe that, if you take this class and take it to heart, it's almost like a prerequisite for the class that he's teaching with Glenda, and he'll teach with Gary on the road as well, that you can eliminate probably 85 or 90% of the casting problems you have just by basically internalizing the system. And then as you develop, it's a lot easier to diagnose and vary and learn different casts.
Yeah, I think that's true. It's just kind of like building. I'm a builder too, Marvin, as a contractor. And same thing with the foundation. If the foundation's not there, it's really hard to build a structure. and have it, withstand, weather and wind and all the other things that you get in building structures. So same kind of thing. You got to have a foundation to learn to deviate from that. If there's not a foundation, it makes it really hard to go to the other things. So that'll be a really, I'm going to try to get to that one. Hopefully I've got I need to study the schedule myself. Usually what I do is I make up a little cheat sheet for all the times to be here, be there, like during the day. And I have to do that this week, Marvin. So hopefully I'm going to be able to come. Maybe I can come crash it.
Yeah, I think you've got time in your schedule because I looked at that. So this is going to be partially as a classroom class and then partially hands-on. And I do know I've got one or two talks. I know I'm speaking about process from literally soup to nuts, from having your gear ready to like how to attack the water on Saturday in Edison. And that's a really fun talk. I'm just a big believer that, one of the things that we haven't done a good job in fly fishing, and this is not just in this space, but everywhere, is we don't give people systems. And they have all of this disconnected information. And my biggest belief is the more things that you can incorporate into your fishing that are habits like brushing your teeth,
Right.
the more successful you'll be, one, because you've got the habits you won't forget, but it also gives you space to solve the problems on the water in your head, right?
Right. No, that'll be good. I mean, it has to be kind of a systematic, because you basically following a similar system every time we go out the door.
Yeah.
And so those habits that's what everybody's really looking for, what we call, a lot of people, it's the holy grail of fly fishing, and they think there's like this fly or this particular rod or this particular, and really it's about the system is what it is for all the people that have already gotten pretty far down the track, with that. They have a system, and their system works because they've gone through it so many times that it's highly effective and highly efficient. And that's what everybody's looking for. But it's hard to teach a system, isn't it? Just all in a few minutes to somebody. It's like there's a lot of different little avenues. And so I think really that's a good point. I think it's a system that a lot of people actually seek.
Yeah, I think I'll talk a little bit, give you a chance to wet your whistle for a second. But I would say too, I think the thing about process, it takes time to learn, right? But what I would say is you have to be receptive and look for those opportunities. And if you walk away with that mindset from that talk and some of the techniques, you can kind of fill in the gaps throughout the year while you're on the water.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. And that's what I like about the schools so much here. When we get to do those 5-day schools, we get to really cover on the process of this overall system. And the more you get to hear that day after day, it starts to really become, by the 5th day, it's pretty ingrained. That's kind of who they are and what they're trying to accomplish. And I think that's the fun part, as a teacher. To me, that's really gratifying, seeing people finally see the light bulb, when their face lights up and they're starting to put it together on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, you'll have a chance to catch Mac at all the fly fishing shows. I'm just going to be in Edison and Lancaster, and love to catch up with listeners. So, ping me on social media, shoot me an email. Love to catch up. And, Mac, you'll come out of show season and it'll just be almost springtime in the Southeast. And so we'll talk about guiding in schools. You want to let folks know where to find you and what you got going on?
Yeah, that'd be good. The MacBrownFlyfish.com. There's a menu on the top, specialty classes, and it has the schools, the 5-day schools, the 2-day schools, 3-day schools. There's all kinds of information on the right-hand menu, and that's probably the best way to reach me is off the website.
Yeah, and since we have a burn warning, we'll say no smoke signals, right?
Yeah, no smoke. No, we hadn't had much rain in a while, but I'll tell you, we've really been lucky over the holidays and into this new year with, I feel pretty fortunate. We've been able to hike in like t-shirts every day for the last couple of weeks. It's like 60s for the high. So no complaints here.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, listen, folks, I hope our paths cross during show season. Please give me a shout and track me down if you're in Edison or in Lancaster, and want to wish everybody a Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Matt.
Happy New Year.